Sometimes religion can feel like a taboo topic, but around 85% of the global population is religious in some way. So today I'm going to share 5 ways that my faith has influenced the way I handle money. All right, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, the first thing for me that faith does is it pulls me into a deeper way of life, and money can pull me the opposite at times, more of a shallower or surface level way of living. And so I do think faith overall, when you are in the belief that there is something bigger than you and something to worship beyond just what we see here of our stuff or ourselves or our accomplishments, there's something about it that creates a level of depth because you just end up being so small, right? Like there's like this perception that yes, you are loved. I do believe you were created in the image of God. Like all of these things are so true. But yet when there is something so much bigger than you, it just allows you to see, golly, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe life is not all about me, right? There's something there that pulls you into a depth of living and examining yourself that I think is really healthy and very sobering, where sometimes for me, money can do the opposite. It can fulfill these shallow wants and desires of myself and my flesh of oh yeah, the nice car, the fun purse, or the new earrings, or whatever the thing is. Money can become that for me. And so what it does is it really helps balance it out. And then if anything, it gives me a lens at which to look at money, which can bring me to a shallow place and actually see how I can use it for good and something bigger than myself. And so for me, that is so, so key. The second thing that faith does is it forces me to reflect on my human money tendencies. And so as I've grown in my faith, I think, again, the more aware I am of these places in my life that money can expose. And so I think it's everything from jealousy to greed to discontentment. And there is a level that we make as a society that money can be an idol. It can be the thing that we are chasing the most, that our identity is in, that number becomes our self-worth and all of that. And when you start to practice and be aware and have some stillness around your faith in God, there's something about that exposing that you're like, oh my gosh, I never saw that was there, because you kind of have something to compare it against. And there's something really beautiful there, because I do think we all, I would hope, want to continue to grow in life and be aware of ourselves and the places that maybe we aren't as strong to say, yeah, I do need help in this area and help beyond what I can do for myself, right? Something even bigger. And having that self-awareness is so key. That's one reason I wrote the book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, because there's something about that self-awareness that I think is so important. And this is for our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to money. But kind of having that mirror that faith gives you a healthy perspective. Number 3, contentment is the most powerful money principle that you can have. In 1 Timothy 6:6, it says, godliness with contentment is great gain. And you guys, contentment is a powerful money principle. When you are content, you are able to win with money because you're not continuing to chase something over and over and over and over again. There is a level of peace deep within your soul that you are good. And you can still have goals and, be striving for things and want to do great things. It's not that, but it's in this snapshot of a moment that you're okay, that you are good, you have peace. And that means when that peace is there, that you could pay off debt because you can sacrifice things in your life because there's a level of peace. You can save more because you probably have more margin because you're not just spending everything you make. There's so many tactical money principles that are wrapped up in contentment. But man, that is a powerful money principle. And then you pair that with godliness. And there's this explosion because you pair these characteristics of God, which are so wonderful and beautiful, with contentment. And I think that creates a rich life. Maybe not with the number in your bank account, but deep in your soul, which I think is more important. All right, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on number 4 coming up next. But first, I do want to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. So you guys, more than 100 million Americans carry medical debt, which shows that traditional coverage often leaves people to face big bills alone. So families need more than coverage. They need community. And that is why I love Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a budget-friendly, faith-based alternative to health insurance, and they've paid over $12 billion in medical bills. That is faith in action. Now, with CHM, there are no networks, no insurance headaches, and programs start at just $98 a month. Y'all, CHM is where your faith and your finances agree. So go to chministries.org/budget to learn more today. All right, number 4, when times are hard, God always provides, but it may not be how you expect. And so life is going to be hard. Okay, there are things that are going to come up in life that are hard. That is true for everyone. But in those moments, and I would say even to a degree of financial hardship, God provides. And it may not come as money, even though you hear the amazing stories, which I always love to hear, right? I think it gives everybody joy when you're like, someone's like, I needed $312, and it like shows up in their mailbox or something, right? That stuff happens 100%. But that may not always happen for everyone. But the thing that he will provide is peace, community around you if you're looking for it, maybe even places where you start to rebuild your marriage into a healthier place. Like there's all these elements of what his Spirit does when he guides and directs that may not be out of actual physical money, but it may be something so much deeper that will take you so much further than you'd ever imagine. And I really do believe he does that. I think he provides those things for everyone. And if we have the ability to stop and look, pray, ask, and receive, those things are out there. And it may not be in every season. Again, you can feel things deeper, I think, some seasons than others. All of it is true. But over the scope of your life, if you're a person of faith and you're walking that, or maybe even not, you can look back and see the way that he provided in all these different seasons. Number 5, generosity. So generosity can rewire your brain when it comes to money. And I will say that this is a spiritual practice because majority of all religions talk about generosity. I mean, honestly, there's like this baseline of being generous. And I love that so much because there's a message about caring for people that are in need. And that can look a million different ways, but there is something about serving, giving your time, your money, all of it that changes who you are. And if you are someone who is spiritual, you're getting a lot of those messages probably. And there is something about living that generous life, that selfless life that changes who you are. And it revolutionizes, honestly, the way that you can look at the world and people. And it's a really beautiful thing. All right, there's so much more than money than just a dollar amount. So be sure to check out my episode, 5 Powerful Ways to Redefine Wealth. It's not just money. You can click here, coming up next. Or if you're listening on podcast, I'll put a link below. All right, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.